Diets, we know, don't work, right? 95% of them fail, and the 5% of people on them are miserable. The thing is, and expecting to go weight doesn't work. We have to be in the present, enjoying our food. When we get centered, we'll know. I'm not saying on any particular type of food or whatever it is either, but when we're centered, we have, and it says in the 10-step promises, if you go to page 84, you'll read on the bottom of page 84, it says, we have ceased fighting anything or anyone, not even food or alcohol, for by this time sanity will have returned. We need the sanity. Trying to resist food, trying to resist being angry, trying to resist these emotions isn't sanity. The way to get restored to sanity, it tells us in step 3, step 11, is through getting centered and contemplating on that higher power that's within us, which doesn't want to make food a higher power. So when we get out of the self with everything in our life, but definitely with the food, we'll seldom be interested in it. If tempted, we recoil as from a hot flame, react sanely and normally on the top of page 85, where we find this will happen automatically. If it doesn't happen automatically and you're resisting it, I was on a very strict diet for a year, and I was miserable the whole year, and I was fighting it. I said, oh, I wish I had all of that food. But now with the perception change, it's all perception. What's the difference between somebody who gorges, a binge eater, and maybe somebody who doesn't eat that much, maybe anorexic or whatever you want to call it? It's the thought process. Some people in the same lifetime, they go between one and another, right? It's the thinking. Everything's perception. It's all in the thinking, in the mind, and the answer is all within us. We are not fighting it, neither are we avoiding temptation. We feel as though we've been placed in a position of neutrality, safe and protected. So here's the food plan. You don't have to answer directly, but is there anything that's bothering in your life? You don't have to tell me what it is, but are there things that bother you in your life? Okay. And when you think of those things, what are you thinking about? Yeah, but who and what are you thinking about? Okay. All right. You got the answer. So this program, and with all your reading, all the sponsoring and helping people, when we get out of the self and we have that spiritual awakening, when we start to realize it goes on, when you get upset during the day, when you could say, I'm thinking about the self, the ego. It all has to do with pride and the resentment, and it's related to people. Do you follow what it means to get out of the self, and all of a sudden you have that transformation when you get out of the pride? It's about self-centered pride, right? So now you got the solution, right? It's amazing. I never knew. I thought if somebody did me wrong, I should get even with them. I should try to win the argument. But the perception changes, and I started to realize that it's all nonsense. It has to do with the ego, which is a lower level of thinking. The higher way is love, patience, and tolerance, right? And rise above it and just have God-centeredness. That's what the God consciousness we have brings us out of our addictions, out of joy. But we heard from people sharing, when we get self-centered fear, we can't function. We're paralyzed. We don't know how to react to people. We start yelling at them. We're fighting with them. We don't know how to react to food. And I used to go to meetings all day. I used to go to the gym to get out of the self. So I figured, yeah, you're right. But I'd go to a meeting. I was happy for that 1 hour when I was talking to people, was with friends and talking about myself and all my problems. But the next 23 hours, I was miserable. But we have a way here where it's good, to get in with people and do things in life. But the ultimate thing is when see people running away, when we're alone and we're sitting at home and we get centered, we have prayer meditation. We could sit on the couch and be happy. And then when we get that, we could be happy the 24 hours a day instead of going to the gym for an hour. Some people have to go to the gym for 10 hours a day so they could be out of self. Some people, right? Then we have to use food, drugs, and isn't it the same with food, drugs, and alcohol? Food is the same way of getting out of self. And what are you making the food then? What are you making the food?
Oh, my higher power.
Okay, and when you're helping people and you go around, you have 100 sponsees, what are you making them? If you go to the gym all day, what are you making the gym? Same thing, you're making your higher power.
Okay.
Yeah, making your higher power. Well, if I help all of these people, I'm going to feel better. All problems are the same. They're all related to one thing. Centeredness, right? Self-centeredness, pride. Okay, so there's a solution. One solution fits everything, whether it's the food, alcohol, drugs, or people. But anyway, okay, I just want to say this. You want real sugar? I mean the real God-given sugar? You know how great this tastes? When we're on that synthetic processed sugar, those synthetic sugars in there that the corporations make are 100 times sweeter, but real synthetic junk. Again, I say I'd rather have the clarity of the water than even a drink or a latte with all that sugar in it and garbage. Once we realize in perception, to me, the spiritual awakening again is the all natural. This is real sugar, but it has fiber in it, and it's healthy for you. The other is condensed in what's called processed. Anything processed, salt, oil, and sugar, oil, the same thing, is condensed into different form. Get off of that garbage. And when spiritual awakening is when you don't want this synthetic. Talks about, in Doc's opinion, synthetic knowledge. Didn't work. Synthetic food doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So get to the real God-given things. I mean, what could be more amazing than an apple? This is from God. It's more amazing than the water, right? It's totally amazing, the whole thing. Perception change. No other way out. No other way. It has to be designed for living. Perception change.